So what is it? First of all, I just want to let you know it's normal. Okay, everybody deals with anxiety. It's like an emotion, just like happiness, sadness. It's more along the lines of fear, but it's a normal emotion. This is something that you were designed innately to have. So essentially, this is a normal thing. We all feel anxiety, just a normal stress emotion. So when your body gets put into a stressful situation, you know, your body's going to react a certain way. We're going to go over chemically what's going on in your body and how best to treat that. So, like I said, everyone has it. It's going to manifest in different ways, both physical, so different physical stresses, you'll feel it, soreness, tightness, body kind of tighten up. It's also affective, cognitive, and behavioral. So it's going to affect you in different ways. So that's going to be like physical stress, chemical stressors, emotional stressors are all going to be affected through anxiety. And according to research, 18% of the American population actually suffers from a diagnosed anxiety disorder. Most commonly GAD, or general anxiety disorder, followed by PTSD, are the most common. But the thing is, those numbers don't really match up, right? All it says only 18% of the American population suffers from anxiety. Still, that's millions of people. But it seems like everyone knows somebody, if not multiple people, if not yourself, that deal with anxiety on a regular basis. So the numbers obviously might be a little skewed from research. In my opinion, those numbers are a lot higher, okay?
Uh-oh.
Hey, Dr. Chase, you may need to point it at the computer, not the TV. For that.
I think it might have died.
Or you can follow along with the computer.
There we go. Right.
Told you I could fix it.
So diagnosing anxiety. When you go to the doctor for this, it's like a concern, and you're wondering what they can do for you. Okay, so when they come in there, you're going to fill out a form and that kind of thing, letting them know exactly what you're feeling, how often you feel it. So when they diagnose anxiety, it's all based off two things: intensity and frequency or duration. So how often you're having it and the intensity levels, what it prevents you from doing. You know, I don't leave my house, like it drives me crazy when I can't even move. Like these are common things that a lot of people are dealing with. So it causes a lot of impairment and stress. So that's what they're checking for in those forms. So what behind it in your body? What's going on chemically? What's going on the inside that's causing you to feel these ways? So what's causing your emotions to stir and become so intense? Well, it's your stress system in your body. This is made up of your HPA axis. This is three systems in your body. Your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal. So your hypothalamus, pituitary in the brain are first off getting chemicals. So neurotransmitters, everything's starting to fire. That sends signals down to your adrenal glands, which then is going to produce cortisol, or your stress hormone. And that's how they measure stress, is through cortisol. But it has to go through the brain first. Also, it's affecting your sympathetic nervous system. So your body's going to be more into a fight or flight mode. So I'm going to go over that a little bit with you too. So the body's response to stress, or aka threatened homeostasis. So homeostasis is your body's ability to maintain rest, to be in that rested state. It's susceptible to various disturbances. These are both intrinsic and extrinsic, both real and perceived. So a lot of times people have anxiety, they don't know why they're even anxious. That's also common. It could be a perceived threat or a perceived stress. Like it could be something you're not even aware of. You may be thinking of something you got to do in a week, but you're not really thinking about it, but it's still affecting you to the back of your mind. This is all going on chemically in your body. A lot of times you can't help it, okay? So like I said, cortisol is secreted. This is what helps put you into that fight or flight mode. This is important though. This is a normal process in the body. It's going to allow you to have more blood flow to your muscles. It's going to allow your eyes to open up. They're going to dilate so you can have a better visual field. Because if you think about it, when your body responds to stress, let's take it all the way back to the beginning of time, okay? What was the number one stressors that we're dealing with back early time? Predators, animals, exactly. Enemies, like, somebody coming into your camp. Those are what your body was designed to innately handle when these situations happen. So, like I said, the blood flow leaves your organs and goes to your muscles. What's that allow you to do? Move quicker. Get away from the threat. It's going to allow your eyes to dilate, open up more. That's going to help you see better. That way you can faster, more quickly react to your environment. This is all normal. This is how your body was designed. But the problem is, let's say you're getting chased by a bear. Your body doesn't need to be focusing on digestion. When you're running from a bear, right? It's immediate. It's in the immediate phase. It's working on what's going on right then and there. Okay? So this is normal though. When your body perceives stress, chemical reactions happen. It puts you into that kind of mode. So, but the problem is when it becomes chronic. So when we have chronic stresses, such as anxiety disorders, you're in a chronic state of heightened awareness, heightened stress. So it's going to cause dysfunction, dysregulation to that HPA axis. So now we're having problems regulating our neurotransmitters, regulating our body's cortisol levels. Okay? So this leads to immunosuppression and even end organ function issues. Okay, so a lot of times when we have these type of problems, we end up with thyroid issues. We end up not being able to manage our weight, very well. So all these are normal because, like I said, your body's digestion's turned off, your immune system's turned off. All these normal, more when you're in your homeostasis setting, are going to be turned off because your body's not worried about digestion or fighting bacteria when you're running from an immediate threat. Okay? So again, it's normal, but when it gets chronic, your body's always having to jump there. So imagine your body's here. All of a sudden, we got to get here really quick, right? Well, if it's happening all the time, your body starts to adjust to that. Okay? So instead of going all the way back down, it'll go a little bit down. That way it's ready to really get you. Okay? That's what causes the problem. When this becomes chronic, then we start not being able to get our body fully back into homeostasis and rest. And that's when we start to see dis-ease throughout the body. So what conditions are related to HPA axis dysfunction? There's a lot, as you can see. Okay, so we have problems with increased activity and also decreased activity. So when the body's used to something, it causes dysregulation, but that doesn't mean it's going to be functioning always in a heightened state. It can also be functioning where you almost are burnt out. So that's like adrenal fatigue, fibromyalgia, depression. Different things are caused by the different types of HPA axis dysfunction. So over here we have increased activity that can lead to diabetes, hyperthyroidism, obsessive compulsive disorders, and just ordinary chronic stress. So what factors are affecting these anxiety disorders? So there's different types that we deal with, right? We have our environment. So your work environment, home environment, your school, what things are you going through? What did the person you were on the phone with scream at you about, And of course, we can't help it as humans. A lot of times we take that a little personal, even if it's not. So we have all these stresses compounding all the time. I heard an interesting study a while back. They were saying that the generations before us, back in 1800s, encountered as much stress in their lifetime as we do in about a month. Wow. So with the rate of pollution, the rate of just general stress as far as work environment, how fast society has become sped up, technology, all of that combines and we have more and more stress. So if we're not doing a good job of fighting that stress, it's just going to compound, and then we lead to these kind of issues. Because I've even met a lot of people who are like, I've never had anxiety in my life, and now I'm 45, and all of a sudden I'm anxious about everything. Because we've got dysregulation going on now due to chronic stress. That's what we want to break. And we can do that in a few different ways. But first off, but there's more things we're dealing with, right? We're not just dealing with people that stress in that manner. Chemicals, the food that we eat, the air that we breathe, the water we drink. I mean, who can say that we're eating everything clean these days? I mean, you don't even want to see half the ingredients on the stuff you buy from the grocery store because half of it's toxic. So our diet, lack of exercise. Exercise helps regulate these neurotransmitters, regulate these endorphins, regulate your adrenals. So if we're not exercising regularly to help fight the stress, so it's not about getting thin, it's not about, getting strong. It's about just fighting stress in your body. That's why it's so important for everyone to be doing exercise at least 3 to 5 days a week to help fight that aspect of the stress in your body. Also, genetics do play into it. I know a lot of people, they're like, well, it runs in my family. And it may. But the good thing about your genes, you can turn those genes on, you can turn them off. Just as easy. So if we have a gene for cancer, that doesn't mean you're always going to have cancer. You can turn that gene off. That's where chiropractic is going to come in. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Other things that relate to vitamin D deficiency. How common is that these days? Nobody's getting outside of it. Everybody's staying indoors. Most of our jobs are indoors. Life indoors is causing a lot of issues because vitamin D really helps with dopamine production in your brain. And that's our happy drug. It's what keeps us sane and happy. So that's why most of your suicide rates are higher in areas without sunlight. England, Washington, Alaska, higher suicide rates than the rest of the country due to the fact that they don't get much sunlight. So vitamin D deficiency is also going to be affecting that HPA axis. And then, of course, societal norms and the pressures of that, especially with our younger generations. Anxiety is on the rise in our younger generations. They feel the need to adapt to whatever's popular. They're trying to go about with what's supposed to be normal in society. And it's a lot of stress on them. Social media is everyone's on it these days. And so it's a major stress. So we need to kind of separate real life from that aspect, or else it can really get us in a lot of trouble. So what can we do about all this? Because I basically just set you up for no matter what, you're going to be stressed out the rest of your life, right? Well, we can limit these factors, okay? So let's go over that together. So the 3 stresses to limit: physical, chemical, and the emotional stressors. So diet. Limit your processed foods. That's the number one thing that I recommend, especially for diet. Just eat natural foods. If God made it, if it came from the earth, if it came from an animal, usually that's pretty good. A lot less process goes into that. Now, if you're eating foods down your middle aisles in the grocery store, most of those foods are processed. Okay? So there's a lot of chemicals that go into allowing those foods to last so long. So we want to limit those as much as we can. So eating more fruits, vegetables, lean organic meats, your chicken, fish, lamb, and beef, nuts and seeds, more brown rice, lentils. I usually try to stay away from oats these days because all of them are processed. A lot of them are genetically modified these days. And they've done that to try to help with world hunger and be able to distribute it more, but it's also had some bad side effects. We already went over exercise. Like I said, it's going to help regulate those hormones, balance neurotransmitters. We went over the adequate sunlight, at least 10 minutes a day, over as much exposed skin as possible. And if you need to, if you know you're mainly based indoors, whether it's work or what have you, then definitely supplementing with vitamin D3 with food. It's fat soluble, so you need to be eating when you take it. That way your body absorbs it, not just excretes it out. So, limiting exposure to harmful chemicals. These are pesticides, herbicides, we went over the GMOs, sugar. Sugar, it will literally turn your immune system off. You can drink a 32-ounce soft drink, your immune system's done for 4 straight hours. So imagine how susceptible you are. Chemicals in our soaps, shampoos, makeups, lotions, aerosols, plastics, unfiltered water, the list goes on. And we're coming in contact with these things, but we can limit it. We can filter our water. We can start drinking more out of glass rather than plastics, not drinking out of those plastic bottles. Refilling your water in glass jars at different places in the grocery stores that have those like UV filtered water distributors. You can use those, fill up your water, bring it home. Using more natural like herbicides like vinegar, Dawn dish soap, and limiting, like I said, our foods. We went over that. And then the chemicals. So I know a lot of times detergents, soap, shampoos, we're like, we can't, get rid of that. Well, no one would want to be near us, right? Well, thankfully these days you can find more natural supplements for us, okay? More natural soaps, natural detergents. We've switched all of that in our household, and we've seen a difference where I used to get kind of like skin rashes. I don't get those anymore just by switching my detergent to something more natural. And we already went over this too, limiting the social media, the technology. Like that's a lot of stress we get from just trying to keep up with everything. That instant gratification that we all like, okay? It's great and all. We all need a little bit of it, but we don't need to base everything on that. So now the chiropractic, the gene part. Your genes almost hum. They have like a vibratory pattern, okay? When we encounter stress, it causes subluxations in your spine, okay? Pressure from the spine going out of alignment is going to cause nerve pressure, which then your nerves, which help to replicate and control and everything, help present your DNA as you, that vibratory pattern gets thrown off. When that communication between your spine and body gets out of alignment, it throws that vibratory pattern off. When that happens, your genes can't express themselves the way they were designed to express themselves. So through chiropractic, keeping the nerve pressure off, getting your adjustments routinely, especially with all this stress we're incurring, will allow your body to at least keep the pressure off your nerves so that your genes can express themselves the way they were designed to do. Okay? So that's really important to maintain your spinal health. Okay? Also, sleeping is going to be really important. I know a lot of people they're too busy. They own businesses. They travel a lot. What have you? I understand it's a lot of stress, but we've got to try to at least keep up with proper rest. Your body heals when we rest, so we need to try to keep up with our sleeping patterns. 6 to 8 hours a night is beneficial. Everyone's different. Some people run better on 6 hours. Some people need that 8 to 9 hours. So whatever you feel like your body does best, but a lot of times, a lot of people are getting these rings or watches that kind of can guide you through that, help you realize what your best sleep pattern is. So that could be something that you could think about as well to help you with your sleep. Is products such as that. So how can we manage these stressors that we know we're going to be encountering? Okay. So if you were to go to your medical doctor for an anxiety issue, okay, like I said, he's going to have you fill out a form, and if he feels like your intensity and duration and everything is high enough, he will diagnose you with an anxiety disorder, most likely GAD. Okay. So that can help kind of numb the feeling and with those neurotransmitters spike, okay? So that can help in certain instances, but that's going to be better for more short term. We don't want to be on those type of drugs long term because they do have adverse side effects. Thankfully, not everyone has these adverse side effects, but they are common. We're seeing adverse side effects such as suicidal thoughts, decreased alertness, sexual dysfunction, and dependency. So these are serious issues that we do not want to have to deal with in the long term. Plus, they're very expensive, and a lot of times insurance won't cover. So what else can we do in the more long term to manage our stress and help with anxiety? So there are a few natural supplements that we can start to utilize. First off, the company Redeem has a product out called Stress Max. This is going to support your body's natural stress response. So it's going to help restore homeostasis and rest. So they're using adaptogenic herbs. So what adaptogens do, they kind of work like a thermostat in your brain. If you're up, they bring you down. If you're down, they help bring you back up, which is wonderful, right? So it's going to help improve sleep, enhance concentration, reduce zest for life. Those adaptogenic herbs that they utilize are ashwagandha, cordyceps, and rhodiola. So not only are they really good for helping with that stress response, but they also help with other things. CBD oil. So you have what's called an endocannabinoid system within your body. Cannabinoids, such as hemp oil or CBD oil, almost works perfectly. It's like God designed it for us or something. It's like a key fitting in a perfect lock. It just unlocks that system and helps to balance out that stress response. So it's going to directly affect your HPA axis and balance you out. So that could be another good thing to utilize. Another thing that, if you were to go to a psychologist, psychiatrist, a lot of times they try to talk you through situations, which is really good, a lot more helpful than just maintaining a drug regimen, like cognitive behavioral therapy. They're going to identify the root cause, try to work you back and figure out why you're having this issue, what started it. So that can help you move closer to homeostasis just by realizing, I've been through this, let's figure it out, and let's move on from it. So that can help as well. So honestly, for a lot of these issues, if you really do believe, it's more, a serious problem and not just situational, then I would recommend more seeing a psychologist or a psychiatrist and not really your MD. It really does try to help, but they're kind of limited in what they can do. Also, essential oils and herbs. Kava, St. John's wort, passion flower, valerian root, magnesium, lysine, all natural supplements that aren't going to cause any kind of known harmful side effect, but can help your body achieve homeostasis and rest, whether it's through relaxing muscles, balancing out neurotransmitters, helping to lower cortisol levels in the body. So a lot of great options that if you have any other questions about here, don't hesitate to ask us here at the office. But also the choices we make are going to have, are going to weigh heavy on our anxiety as well. So like I said, this is an emotion. We can't really do away with anxiety. We're all going to have it, okay? Just like we're all going to have happiness. We're all going to have sadness. We're all going to be a little anxious at times. It's normal. So we all have to deal with it. There's no escape from it. So we have to be better stewards of knowing what we kind of go through and manage it a little better. So avoiding stresses you can control. So if you know that you have a lot of stress, public speaking, probably not best to do it, okay? Or if you know that like certain situations, like being in like big groups of people or heights, or, stay away from those areas especially, okay? Or if you know that you can't avoid it, it's something that you have to do, at least prepare yourself for it. Be prepared for the stresses that you cannot control, such as driving through Knoxville during rush hour traffic. Sometimes we can't help it, but we need to be prepared. Prepare yourself for it, okay? It's going to help you. So building up your mental fortitude, empowering yourself, meditation, prayer, mental fortitude, you can really build a lot through exercise. I mean, you're getting up early in the morning, you're going to CrossFit before work. I mean, that takes a lot of mental fortitude, not only to get up out of bed, but to know you're about to kill yourself before going to work. So, a lot of ways we can help to hone in and really help ourselves be able to manage our stressors a little bit better. Even a little bit better is better than nothing at all. So, which comes into our last thing, especially for individuals. I'm talking to Christians right now who deal with anxiety. We all deal with anxiety. It doesn't matter what religion you are or if you don't believe in God, it doesn't matter. We all deal with it. So, for us that are Christians, that we believe in God, we believe that He created your body perfect. Stress causes us to kind of fall out of that homeostatic routine. So, we need to rely on Him to help with our anxiety as well. Spiritual healing is huge. When I'm stressed, I'll put on praise and worship music. It really helps calm me down. I can turn to Him through prayer. It really helps relax me, get me into a better state. It helps me to know that He's in control of my life. He's paid my footsteps before me. I don't have to worry about it. He's in control. There's a lot of great Bible verses for those out there who want to turn to the Word for that homeostasis and rest. So, Psalms 94:19. When anxiety was great within me, your consolation brought me joy. Philippians, do not be anxious for anything, but in everything with prayer, petition, with thanksgiving. Let your requests be known to God, so that the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and mind in Christ Jesus our Lord. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. Fear is the basis of anxiety. But those who hope in the Lord shall renew their strength. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. A lot of times when I was growing up, if I was ever nervous about something, my mom would tell me, just squeeze your right hand. You know who's holding your hand, just squeeze your right hand, and you know that you can make it through anything. The whole chapter, basically, of Matthew 6 talks about dealing with anxiety, helping the Lord to help you. And that's what He's here for. So spiritual healing a lot of times can help cover a lot of those other kind of mental and emotional stressors that we all kind of deal with. Maybe not the physical, CrossFit, maybe not, but there's other ways of that. Stretching, Dr. Heskey. So I just wanted to leave you with one more verse here. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your soul. My yoke is easy and my burden is light. So for me in my life, it's helped me a lot to rely on God. Okay? So that's where I put my hope, that's where I put my faith, that's where I put my strength, everything there, because I know that I'm a weak vessel. I'm just human, just like everybody else, right? I'm still going to go through everything. We're going to deal with anxiety and stress and all sorts of issues in life. But honestly, I couldn't do it if it weren't for me being able to lean on somebody greater than me. So it helps to have people like that in your life too, to have somebody you can turn to and talk to, or somebody you can lean on, whether it's your pastor, close friends, somebody to talk to, your parents, maybe a brother. But then we all know that we can turn to somebody even greater than that. So I just encourage you, if you haven't, experienced spiritual healing in your life, you can talk to us about that as well. We'll be happy to talk to you about that and pray with you. I just want to encourage you guys to, not think that you're up the creek without a paddle, right? We have options. We have ways we can deal with these issues because we're all going through it. We're in it together. So we can band together, talk about it, help each other through these methods, and we can see really good results. Okay? Any questions? All right, wonderful. Thank you, guys. So we got some deal here. Stretching. CrossFit. Thank you. So before we go, we got some giveaways, right? Do you want Caroline to help me? Okay. Yes. So one of the things that he talked about was the Stress Max, and so since y'all came tonight, we've been asking people to come and asking people to come. I'm going to give all three of y'all a Stress Max tonight. That's going to be the giveaway. You need to come to these workshops. Love you, brother. You need to come to these workshops. We're going to give away one of these, and then also everybody, including my man here, is going to get a T-shirt, a new T-shirt tonight as well. Come to these workshops. We give, don't we always give away something? Yeah. We give away something at all the workshops. So if you're watching online, I know you tried to get there. There were some people from Daniels that were going to come, but we're just going to continue to do these. That was gigantic. I learned a lot from that, and anybody that could see that learn a lot from that. That's Dr. Chase's gift. He's very intelligent, and it's just awesome to see him present that. And we have other doctors and other offices that are going to be. Dr. Chase is going to be doing this again, the same workshop again tomorrow night in Straw Plains. So, and that will be, I think we're going to try to, I don't know if we're going to record that when we got this one this time, but we are going to have it tomorrow. Dr. Andy's going to be presenting in Rogersville tomorrow at 5:30 as well. So thank y'all for coming tonight. Thank you for joining us online. I think there is a couple people that are online. And we'll make sure, thank y'all for being in and being with us. So that's it. I don't have anything else. Do we have anything else? So make sure everybody gets one of these and a T-shirt. All right, let's pray before we go. God, thank you for a great night. Thank you for an awesome workshop, helping us learn more about our health and what we can do to be better stewards over our life.
Thank you.
Chase said, you hold our life in your hands. And so we're just so grateful that we have someone we can lean on and trust in you. And God, we cast all our anxiety on you, and you will lift us up in due time. Your word teaches us that, so we trust in you, and we're so grateful to have you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. All we've said. Amen. God bless y'all. Good night.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. No, that's all national. That's that Ashwagandha. That's all national. And then-
Joe.
No.
Well, make sure everybody gets a t-shirt too.
Yes. What's that?
You are welcome.